6 targeted shootings in Vaughan, only 1 arrest. Police stop short of answering if the shootings are tied to the towing industry. Team coverage with the latest details this hour.
Speed cameras, will they stay or will they go? The mayor, the premier, councillors, more on the back and forth coming up.
An understanding approach to safety on the TTC, which calls for passengers to be proactive.
And the Jays and the Red Sox, a race for the AL East Division title. It's, still on. First pitch, Game 2 at 7.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Phil Perkins.
I'm Bakari Savage. Welcome to Live at 5. So police in York Region, they say that there have been 6 shootings in Vaughan in September, including a home. This home was shot at twice.
Yeah, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman at the scene near Bathurst and Major Mackenzie with the latest. Beatrice.
Phil, Bakari, good evening. There's been 6 incidents of firearm discharges at 4 residents across Vaughan since September 6th. 4 of the incidents involve 2 homes in particular. The one behind me here on Farrell Road, you can see it behind me with the red brick awning over the garage and the front walkway entrance. It was targeted back on September 6th and then again overnight around 3:30 in the morning. The first time I've heard surveillance video footage, there was some upwards of 15 shots fired at this home. Last night, a neighbor tells me she heard 3 shots, a pause, and then 3 more shots. Another home on Allison Ann Way, about 600 meters from where we're standing, also targeted twice, the same 2 nights, September 6th overnight, and again last night. In both of those incidents, and in all of the incidents, actually, thankfully, no one was injured by this gunfire. The homes shot at, the vehicles and the driveways shot at, and it's becoming quite unnerving for the people who live here in this community. I can tell you this home on Farrell Road specifically is one that police have said has been at least linked to organized crime. What do I mean by that? Well, the person associated with this home is Alexander Vinogradsky, 39 years old, kingpin in the tow truck industry. He was gunned down in a homicide last year. I'm told his family still lives here at this home. Police saying all of the incidents are linked, though they would not link all of them to the tow truck industry. Here's what we heard from York Regional Police Constable Lisa Moskaluk.
We are aware and we know, we understand that this is very concerning for the residents in the community of Vaughan. It's important to understand that these incidents are targeted between specific individuals. I can't get into the details of that, but they are not random. In total, there have been 6 shootings in Vaughan in the month of September at 4 separate addresses. All are being linked and are considered, as I say, targeted.
I've told you about 2 of the incidents. The other one on Lady Angela Way, that's near Bathurst and Teston Road, and then another one over at Weston and Highway 7 as well. I want to bring in our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's joining me here on Farrell Road to talk about this situation. When you've got 6 incidents, 4 residents, police say they're linked. How do they go about linking these situations?
Intelligence-led, often, where they will gather information from people that are embedded in that industry to feed them information. And there's never a hurry to link them, let's say, to the tow truck industry. You don't want to link all these crimes if you're not 100% sure, because as I always say, once you link them, it's hard to unlink them. Now, they have said that the 2 shootings, as you alluded to, at this house where we're standing right now, they have to do with the tow truck industry. The tow truck operator was shot and killed, as you said, back in 2024. So clearly, those 2 shootings most likely still have to do with the tow truck industry. As far as the other ones, the shootings are linked, but as far as the tow industry, the police haven't said yet whether or not they're all connected. I
found the home really interesting. When I was here back on September 7th, I certainly noticed that the fortification of it. It seems like the garage doors not being able to be penetrated by bullets. Almost they just ricochet off them and dent them. The windows, the window panes are open right now. They've actually got blinds, look like metal blinds that come down as well. What does that tell you, that this family has gone this far to protect not only their home, but obviously the people inside of it as well? And there were children inside.
It's a threat. And even the fact that the man that was associated to this house was murdered back in 2024. Those living inside that home still feel that there is some sort of threat. I have seen very few homes that are fortified like this home appears to be. The garage doors, the bullet holes or the indentations, the bullets didn't proceed through the garage doors, certainly suggests that they are bulletproof. And very few homes that I've seen fortified like this. But given the fact that the family went out and did this certainly suggests that there is still a threat that they do perceive to be real.
Police have so far arrested one person. They don't know how many suspects they're still looking for. Police saying today they believe this was a hired gun, that all of these are hired guns, using stolen vehicles. What does that say to you?
Well, it's a sign of the times. Hired guns are out there in certain industries. The tow industry is no different when it comes to people willing and prepared to do the deed for the right amount of money. So now they have one person in custody. The associates, all the other associates around that person may be valuable information for the police with regards to other evidence, but it's baby steps. It takes a lot of time to gather that information.
Yeah, and as you and I spoke about, with the Piper Arms shooting back then, also associated to the tow truck industry, you got to get the head of the snake, right? That's what police are looking for. Steve Ryan, thanks so much for this, and of course we'll have live coverage continued at 5:30 here on CP24 as well. But Curry, Phil, back to you guys.
All right, Beatrice and Steve, thanks so much for that conversation. But moving on right now, the city's community crisis service expanding to the TTC.
Yeah, starting in November, teams are going to be embedded on several subway platforms and on some trains on Line 1. This is part of a new pilot project. It aims to help TTC riders feel safe and also educate them on what to do if they encounter someone in distress.
As a TTC rider, witnessing a person having a meltdown, what do you do? Who do you call? You want help. You also want to feel safe. Do you get off the train if this is happening? Can you text someone? Do you call someone? Who's going to respond? Instead of feeling powerless, TTC riders must feel safe and know how to respond.
Really, this is another just layer of helping people on the system. We know that there is people who come to the subway for refuge, and we know that there are services already, crisis workers already in the subway. But this is actually another layer in that they are stationed at various subways itself, and they're available 24/7. And you can call the SafeTO TTC app, and if you see someone that needs help, just go to the app and we will be there.
Well, now CP24's Andrew Brennan joins us live with how the initiative is going to work and what it actually means for commuters. Andrew.
Yeah, so Bakari and also, of course, Phil, just as we're outside Wellesley Station where this announcement was made, we're looking at numbers where you had 857 calls to either get help from the police or transit constables on the TTC in August. That's the last month that we have full data from. And year over year, we are somewhat seeing a decrease in violence, or at least reported incidents. But it's really hard to be able to make statistical, actual, definitive things out of numbers with that little of a data set. With that in mind, though, there's still about 1 in every 500,000 people on the TTC that record or report a violent incident to just generally. So that would mean roughly 2 per day with the amount of people that ride the Rocket every day in our city. The way that this pilot project will work is you will have trained crisis intervention workers that are on the downtown U, starting at Spadina Station on the west side, going down to Union. That's another one of the hubs that they will stay at, and then up to Bloor Yonge Station. And during peak hours, we're also told they will be further in the network around that downtown U and over across on Bay Station as well to complete the circle. What are people thinking about this? Well, there are people from, the political side of things. Councillor Brad Bradford has said that he wants to see more police and special constables, that this should not be the only answer. But there are others that are saying, as we speak to them here, that they want to see more people getting help that they need, and also that this may be the right way to do it.
I think it's a very good idea. And I do believe we need more mental health care places, because that is part of the issue. Some people with severe mental illness, they don't know exactly what they're doing, and some of them can be violent, and it's scary.
I'm not feeling faithful about this potential counseling that we're talking about here, because I live just a couple doors down, and I really haven't seen any kind of results at this point that are actually going to prove successful.
Now, another layer to be thinking about here is the costs of something like this. Let's all go back to the beginning of 2023 in January, when we had incidents reported of seemingly random attacks on the TTC, buses, subways. At that point, the response was, let's put more police on TTC, subways, and throughout the network. The cost was roughly $1.5 million of overtime per month. This program, according to the City of Toronto and the Mayor, will cost roughly that, but for the whole year. So that is one other thing to take in consideration. And just as we've been hearing about these crisis intervention workers, Bakari and Phil, when we have heard from TCCS over the past few months and years, what they've said is that they normally resolve most even violent incidents that are reported to them without the need of calling police. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Andrew Brennan, outside Wellesley Station. Thanks so much. Appreciate that. Well, Premier Doug Ford expecting to make an announcement on speed enforcement cameras tomorrow.
Yeah, the Premier has been calling on Ontario's municipalities to scrap the automated speed enforcement program, promising instead to give them money to implement other traffic measures like speed bumps. Well, Ford has repeatedly said that he thinks that the cameras are just a cash grab, that they are not proven to be effective. Today, Mayor Olivia Chow pushed back against Ford.
Speed kills. Torontonians, especially those most vulnerable, like children, need to be safe. And we know speed camera works. It reduces speed. And we know speed kills. And that is why Toronto will always support having speed camera to make sure that our most vulnerable are protected.
Toronto Police Chief Martin Demke says that there are lots of ways to calm traffic and make the streets safer, and the speed cameras still have a role.
When we consider our approach to road safety, we need to look at it, I'd step back and look at all the things that are happening. Cameras is one part of Vision Zero. There's a number of other things happening, everything from environmental design and, importantly, police enforcement. So we remain laser focused on enforcing the Highway Traffic Act, particularly around things like aggressive, dangerous driving, speeding, and the things that we know cause harm and kill people on our roadways.
A Premier Ford's news conference is scheduled for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning, and Vaughan, CP24 is going to bring that to you live.
All right now let's take a look at traffic. Adrian Celia, mainly on highways.
Yes,
right.
yes. Yeah, just watching what's going on the highways. It's slow on most of them. And in the mix, we have a problem, Phil, happening on the 401. This is the westbound collector ramp that does take you to Mississauga Road. It is a stalled vehicle. Looks like it's right in that center lane, and the person driving and the passenger are all outside of the car. So if you're making your way through, just drive with a lot of extra caution. On the flip side, eastbound 401, at least no problems. Definitely getting busier, though, as you head from the 427 and sections out to Leslie. Further east, looking at backups as you head in towards the Durham stretch. Also busy on the DVP North from Bayview Bloor up to the 401, and a crawl still on the Gardiner as you travel into and out of the downtown core. My camera froze. On city streets, crews on scene of a collision blocking lanes on Kennedy just south of Ellesmere. I'll send it back to you.
This CP24 traffic report is brought to you by 407 ETR. Enjoy the journey with a stress-free commute.
Speaking of traffic on highways, the city is saying that it anticipates that long-term construction on the Gardiner, that's going to be fully completed months ahead of schedule.
Yeah, the rehab work between Dufferin and Strawn began more than 2 years ago. The original timeline called the stretch to temporarily reopen for the World Cup, which is next June, and then finish in 2027. The province stepped in and added more money to speed up the work, and now the city says it is 6 months ahead of the accelerated timeline. That means it could be done later this year or early next year.
It's 5:13, 21 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Students at Toronto Metropolitan University held a walkout today in response to an online video. We'll have more next. Welcome back. Students at Toronto Metropolitan University held a walkout this afternoon after the violent arrest of a student during an earlier protest.
Yeah, the arrest happened during a pro-Palestinian protest. This was last Friday. The video shows a security guard picking up a student and then pushing them to the floor before another guard helps to handcuff the person. The protest coincided with a forum on campus. This was attended by Federal Minister of Artificial Intelligence and Digital Innovation, Evan Solomon.
And during the walkout today, students call for accountability and justice, claiming the security guard assaulted the student. They say it's part of a bigger issue at universities and are calling for major changes.
I witnessed the video in the same time that it was shared to social media. I am absolutely appalled at the force and brutalization used against a pro-Palestine student.
Obviously, there's been a lot of horror the last 2 years. It's just nonstop. Having family there obviously plays a part in it. And I think people need to know why we're here. We're going to stay protesting until Palestine is free. And that's going to be every single day until we are able to go back to our country.
And a statement from TMU reads, quote, "The exchange of diverse, sometimes opposing views and ideas is at the center of university life. TMU respects our community members' right to demonstrate on matters that are important to them. At the same time, we also expect our community members to conduct themselves regardless of differences with respect and civility."
Well, new poll suggests that there isn't widespread support for scrapping school board trustees in the province.
33% of those surveyed by Abacus Data on behalf of QP Ontario say they support eliminating elected trustees. So 36% oppose the measure. 25% are unsure. Education Minister Paul Calandra is in the midst of reviewing school board governance and is looking at doing away with the position of trustee. The survey also found 57% of respondents agreed the main problem facing Ontario schools was lack of funding and that trustees provide accountability.
Both the Minister of Education and the Premier, heck, even the Finance Minister, like to tell us that they're spending record amounts of money and that everything's green and rosy. And that, some of the challenges in our schools, somehow trustees might be the ones to blame. But this poll really shows clearly that Ontarians aren't buying that. They know very well that the cause of the challenges that young people are experiencing in our education system, in our schools throughout the province, are a direct result of underfunding by the province.
And the Education Minister's office are releasing a statement. It says, quote, "Minister Calandra has been clear the current school board governance structure is based on an outdated system that needs to be modernized. Our focus is to provide students with better outcomes and teachers and educators with the tools they need to help students succeed."
Well, the poll of 2,000 Ontario residents, it's considered accurate within 2%, 19 times out of 20.
It is at 5:18, feels like 26. Watching live at 5.
Up next, Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky addressed the United Nations today, the day after U.S. President Donald Trump appeared to drastically shift his tone in the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has addressed the United Nations General Assembly. He called for more military support for Ukraine in its ongoing war against Russia.
If a nation wants peace, it still has to work on weapons. It's sick, but that's the reality. Not international law, not cooperation. Weapons decide who survives. Excellencies, you know perfectly well international law doesn't work fully unless you have powerful friends who are truly willing to stand up for it. And even that doesn't work without weapons. It's terrible, but without it, things would be even worse.
Just yesterday, U.S. President Donald Trump appeared to drastically shift his tone on the war in Ukraine, saying he believed the country could win back all of its territory lost to Russia. He had previously made repeated calls for Kyiv to make concessions to end the war.
Well, late-night TV host Jimmy Kimmel returned to the air last night. This is after he was suspended for comments that he made following the killing of right-wing activist Charlie Kirk.
I do want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't...
Yeah, Kimmel went on to say that his remarks may have seemed ill-timed or unclear. However, he also criticized ABC affiliates for taking his show off the air, describing the move as un-American. Kimmel was suspended after suggesting last week that the Trump supporters were trying to capitalize on Kirk's death.
Let it be all it is, small and still and better left alone. Some things are better broken.
Halifax-born singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan was Jimmy Kimmel's musical guest last night. She performed the title track from her 10th studio album, Better Broken. This is her first album in 9 years. It's 523, 21 degrees. This is Live at 5.
When we come back, the Jays will take on the Red Sox tonight in Game 2 of their critical series ahead of the playoffs. Can they increase the distance between themselves and the Yankees for top spot in the AL East?
All right, the Blue Jays, they're fighting for a division title as the regular season winds down with a crucial couple of series before postseason baseball begins.
Yeah, CP24 CJ Liu joins us live from inside the Rogers Center. How are fans feeling, CJ? Yesterday after the game, they were pretty little shell-shocked because not only did the Jays lose, but the Yankees then won.
Yeah, the Yankees are breathing down the necks of Jays right now, and fans that I've been speaking to are nervous. They are definitely a bit uncomfortable, but the Jays, like you mentioned, they're trying to aim for that division title, something they haven't gotten in a decade, but their lead is shrinking. After yesterday's loss against the Red Sox, 4-1 loss there, their lead over the Yankees is just down to 1 game now. So Blue Jays fans really understanding how important every single game is. And we've been talking to some fans, including Peter here. It's actually Peter's birthday, so I'm guessing your birthday present would be a Jays win.
That would be the best gift anybody could ever receive on their birthday. Like a Jays win, you couldn't ask for anything better, could you?
No, I mean, we're chasing the division title right now. How confident are you that the Jays can get it done, even though they've kind of had a slump lately?
We kind of had a rough patch. I have to admit to that, but yeah, let's go Jays. We've got to put this in the books, seal the deal, and take that first place spot.
What would you say worries you the most right now? Is it the Yankees breathing down their necks? Is it the pitching, the injuries? What's got you worried, keeping you up at night?
I hope our Jays would come through with a little bit more on the bats. I'm not too worried about the defense, but the bats would be a little bit better. But no, I don't really worry about the Yankees. I really don't.
I like that, staying positive. Now, fun question here.
Sure.
What would you give up for a World Series title for the Jays?
Okay, this is what I said. I would give up coffees for 1 month if the Jays could do it. 1 month.
Okay, well, we have you on camera saying it,
yes.
so we'll have to follow through. Well, thanks so much, Peter, and happy birthday. Hoping
go
for a
Jays, go! Go Jays, go!
All right, earlier today, we also heard from manager John Schneider on what they need for a win today. Take a listen to what he had to say.
I think we put ourselves in a good spot, and I get where you can hit a couple tough games, and things like that. But these guys are resilient. I think they're all, pumped to come to the field every day, obviously, and see what the next 5 games hold. But I think these guys have been really, really consistent over the course of the year, and will continue to be that way.
And this is a time we were talking about that magic number. It is getting lower. Right now, the magic number to clinch that division title is 4. So that means any combination of Jays wins and Yankees losses will get the job done. But the Jays certainly not taking their foot off the gas pedal because the Yankees right behind them, just 1 game behind. So Phil Bakari, every game, every at-bat call really counts right now, and the Jays fans are really feeling it.
Yeah, I got some sweaty palms right now just thinking about this. Just because, as a Toronto sports fan, you're waiting for that trap door to open and just everyone to be sad together. And so, just win every game. Just win every game. That's it. Thanks, Siege. It is 5:29. Feels like 26. We're watching Live at 5.
Well, the mayor has announced that the city's launching a crisis worker pilot program on the TTC. We're going to have details coming up.
6 targeted shootings in Vaughan, only 1 arrest. Police stop short of answering if they are all tied to the towing industry. Team coverage coming up.
Speed cameras, will they stay? Will they go? The mayor, the premier, the councilor, more on the back and forth coming up.
An understanding approach to safety on the TTC, which calls for passengers to be proactive.
Well, the Jays, the Red Sox, the race of the AL East Division title. First pitch in Game 2. That's 7 o'clock.
This is Live at 5.
Good evening. I'm Bakari Savage.
And I'm Phil Perkins. Here's our top story. Well, the City Community Crisis Service is expanding to TTC.
So starting in November, teams are going to be embedded on several subway platforms and some trains. This is on Line 1. It's part of a new pilot project. It aims to help TTC riders feel safe, as well as educate them on what to do if they encounter someone in distress.
These highly trained mental health workers like Lassar will be stationed at Spadina, Union, and Bloor and Young stations and will be deployed as needed to help along the U shape of Line 1. Alongside, of course, there are special constables, police folks, provincial offense officer, TDC staff. They will provide appropriate care and also keep transit riders safe.
Just last month, in August 2025, there were 857 calls to Toronto Police and TTC Special Constables regarding concerns for safety, security, and well-being. TCCS is clearly needed in the TTC. Any crisis that can resolve without using police resources will benefit our police as well.
CP24's Andrew Brennan joins us live with how this initiative will work, what it means for commuters, and Andrew, you also talked about, how much it's all going to cost.
Yeah, that's another thing to bear in mind when we're looking at something like this. You normally, when politicians talk, they talk in platitudes, and then there's numbers that have to come afterwards. So we'll break that down in a minute. But first thing is looking at the reaction we've gotten, not just from City Hall, but also people on the street that take the TTC. So we have been speaking to people throughout the afternoon and also earlier on this morning, and there are plenty of people that are on the TTC that say they do not feel safe. That is actually something that even the TTC's own polling of Torontonians does suggest. I think the last one said that roughly less than 20% actually said that they felt safe taking the TTC. So that's a very, very strong impression to be able to try to address from the standpoint of public safety. When we hear from councillors such as Brad Bradford, an opponent of the mayor at City Hall, he says that what we're hearing from the mayor and from the TTC today is ultimately not going to address a lot of the problems because it doesn't speak at all to the need for special constables in his mind and for having police where he believes they need to be.
You should walk into a TTC station and take comfort in the fact that you see transit police or special constables there. This program doesn't speak to that at all. And again, the concerns that people really have is when an incident gets violent and somebody that is a social worker or crisis response worker, they're not in a position where they can respond to somebody being violent. That requires special constables or transit police officers. And so this program, while it's a step in the right direction, and I would give the mayor credit for acknowledging that there is a problem with TTC safety right now, I think it falls far short of what is actually required to make the TTC safer for our riders.
Now, the advocacy group TTC Riders has a different impression when it comes to when crisis workers should be in place and police. This is a statement from them today saying adding crisis worker teams is a major win for safety. For years, transit users have been calling for an inclusive, non-enforcement approach to safety based on evidence and care. Now, more preventative solutions like platform edge doors, they say, and more reliable bus service and streetcar service are also necessary. Now, we did mention before, Phil and Bakari, that the cost for having police inside stations like we saw in 2023, that cost the taxpayers roughly $1.7 million in overtime and paying police for their time a month. That was the cost per month. Now, the cost, according to the mayor, for this pilot program in the downtown U is $1.8 million a year, roughly the same amount that was spent on policing per month for this program. And the TCCS has said repeatedly when we have spoken to them that about a vast majority, roughly 3/4 of incidents that they respond to that are violent or otherwise are resolved without the need for police. For people at home that do feel unsafe, one last stat to show you, coming from the City of Toronto's website and their safety metrics, is the rate of offenses per TTC customer and the amount of million riders. So if you have 1 million people boarding the TTC, there is roughly 2 incidents in August, 1.99, violent incidents reported involving assault of TTC riders versus 1 million people taking the TTC. So if you have more than 1 million people per day, as is the case right now, you're seeing roughly one violent incident for every 500,000 rides. Something for people at home to bear in mind, with some stats to at least inform a little bit more, as I know the feeling out there is a feeling of unsafety, of lack of safety, and this is something the city wants to address, and we'll send it back to everyone inside for now and see what happens.
Yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, Andrew Brennan, outside Wellesley Stations, we appreciate it. All right, let's talk about those who are not taking transit. They're driving. Traffic specialist Adrian Siriabon, was that a good move for some of these people?
You know what? You got to do what you got to do. So if you got to drive, you're driving and you're stuck in a lot of traffic, especially for commuters on the Gardiner. But if you can't take transit, I would suggest you should. But if you're a driver, here's what's going on. Very slow exiting the downtown core. Very, very busy from Jarvis and sections out towards Grand. And then even the eastbound side coming in, unusually busy, at least for this time of day. Very slow from Kipling all the way into the downtown core. Don Valley Parkway on the northbound side barely moves as well. Bayview blower up to the 401. To be expected, it's rush hour. And the rush hour dredge continues on the 401 across the top of the city. But again, haven't spotted any live lane issues. We are dealing with a collision, though, happening on Kennedy just south of Eglinton. I'll send it back to you.
Okay, thanks, Aj.
You're welcome.
Listen, police in York Region, they say that there have been 6 shootings in Vaughan in September, including at a home that has been shot at twice.
Yeah, let's go live to CP24's Beatrice Vaisman. She's at the scene near Bathurst and Major Mac, along with our crime specialist, Steve Ryan.
Phil, Bakari, good evening. This is certainly unnerving to people who live here in this community. I was talking to one woman who lives here on Farrell Road. She heard at 3 o'clock in the morning, 3 shots, a pause. She's described it a couple of minutes, then 3 more shots. The second time in just a few weeks, in September 2nd, that this home behind me here on Farrell Road was the target of gunfire. It's certainly a fortified home. I've never seen anything like it in covering crime. It seems the garage doors and the window panes that are retractable appear to be bulletproof, because the bullets that hit the garage door overnight, they dented it. They did not penetrate through it. Perhaps something that could point to why. Police today confirming to CP24 that this home here on Farrell Road is linked or associated to Alexander Vinogradsky, 39 years old, gunned down March of last year. He was a kingpin in the tow truck industry, the owner, operator of Paramount Towing. I'm told his family, wife and children still live here at the home, and they were home overnight, including 3 kids, when gunfire rang out about 600 meters from here on another street called Allison Ann Way. Gunfire there as well. Also, the second time this month. Police have said that the 6 different firearm discharges at 4 residents are all linked, so they would not link all 4 of them to the tow truck industry specifically. And so here's a bit of what we heard from York Regional Police this morning.
Witnesses reported seeing a silver or white SUV fleeing northbound on Farrell Road in the direction of Allison Ann Way, which is just north of us where we are now. We have since learned of a second shooting that occurred around the same time on Allison Ann Way. In both of these incidents, no one was injured.
And thankfully, in any of these incidents, no one was injured. In addition to Farrell Road and Allison Ann Way, you've got Lady Angela, which is at Bathurst and Teston, and then an anomaly over at Weston and Highway 7, perhaps in an effort to send police resources that same night to that area. Well, these 2, homes in the same neighborhood were targeted by gunfire. Let's get into it a bit more with our crime analyst, Steve Ryan, who's with me here in Vaughan. When you've got these 6 firearm discharges, 4 homes, I mean, what's the purpose here? What's the motive? What kinds of things are police looking into?
Well, just looking at the evidence that was left at this home behind us here, the one where police allege that the tow truck operator that was shot and killed in 2024, this house is now being shot at for the second time in a month. The bullets that hit the garage, they're eye level. So this does look like it was more of warning shots, a message being sent, unless you believe that somebody was behind the other side of that the garage door at 3:30 in the morning. That's when police say that this latest shooting happened. It looks like there's a message being sent. There's warning shots being fired in the direction of that home. And that's why we've got so many bullets that, as you said, did not go through the garage door, because it does appear to be bulletproof. But this is more of a message than anything else, just looking at it from the outside.
When you've got, the wife of a tow truck kingpin and his children, innocent children who live here in this home, I mean, how does this family, A, go about protecting themselves, and B, in what efforts, I guess, do they work with police, if they want to cooperate with police, to keep them safe?
Yeah, well, the protection, the house seems to be fortified, so that is one step to. I imagine living in a home where you got to put bulletproof glass into your own home. But given the fact that this man died almost like over a year ago, and this house is still being targeted with shootings, it certainly suggests that somebody else associated to this home has got some sort of interest in the tow truck business, because otherwise, why? It doesn't make any sense that if you took out the tow truck operator and you're still firing at this home, there's got to be a reason for that.
How do police go about linking them? Because they've said that these are linked, that these are targeted firearm discharges, that they don't want, members of the public or people who live here in this area to be worried that their home is next.
Yeah, so you need to be very careful when you link occurrences. Now, the police have said that all of these shootings are linked with regards to the shootings, but they haven't said why. They have said that this particular home is got some sort of association to a tow company. When you make the announcement like that, when you make that decision to link cases, it's hard to unlink them. So when the police make that announcement, you want to be absolutely sure that you are correct, because you can't unlink them once you do. So this is why they haven't said anything else with regards to the tow industry. They may not be related to the tow industry, but if they are, maybe they are not satisfied yet that they've got enough evidence to come out and say that they are all as a result of the tow truck turf force.
And 6 instances in a month, unnerving for sure. Steve, thanks so much for this. Thankfully, no one was injured in any of these. Police were out here all day in this area canvassing. They say they've increased foot patrols and just surveillance as well to make sure that people here in this community, it's quite an affluent community here in Vaughan, are feeling safe as well. Bakari and Phil, as this seems to continue over and over this month. Back to you.
All right, team coverage live in Vaughan. CP24's crime analyst Steve Ryan and Beatrice Vaisman. Well, police are investigating after shots were fired at a towing business in Pickering.
Yeah, similar situation potentially, but somewhere else. It happened at this business on Notion Road. Police say an employee was in the parking lot around 2:20 this morning when he witnessed a person get out of a black sedan and began firing. Fortunately, no one was actually hit. Investigators say they believe this is an isolated incident. No arrests have been made.
It's 5:43, 21 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Well, the Premier speed camera announcement is coming tomorrow. Coming up next, we'll speak with Toronto City Councilor Josh Matlow about his speed camera motion. Well, guys, going back to our top story. Premier Doug Ford expected to make an announcement on speed enforcement cameras tomorrow.
Councilor Josh Matlow is calling out the Premier, saying that his plan is going to make people less safe. So he posted this statement on social media today. Premier Ford, what wouldn't you do to keep the people you love safe? Everyone killed on our roads was a member of a family in our community. You claim you support the police and law and order. How does that square with banning a proven tool they advise to keep our kids safe? So, Councilor Matlow putting forward a motion on speed cameras, joining us live right now. Okay, let's talk about the motion first. Let's lay out the basics.
Yeah. Well, the hyperbole that Premier Ford and certainly those folks that were cutting down the speed cameras in the middle of the night have been using is that this is just a cash grab to have speed cameras. Despite the fact that all evidence shows that they are proven to be effective to keep kids in our community safe and are supported by the police chiefs from across the province. So one of the, I think, more reasonable concerns that residents complain about is that if they're trying to obey the law, if they're only, slightly over the speed limit, they shouldn't be fined. And we all know that it's sometimes difficult to keep your right foot exactly on that exact number. So I want to make sure that council recognizes that our policy needs to be reasonable, that there needs to be some reasonable grace. And we're really after the people who are speeding excessively, who are being reckless, and who don't care about the safety of everyone around them.
Yeah, I was looking at the city's website and clicked the link to see, the ranges of how the fines work. It says the first tier, it's 1 to 19 kilometers over, and it's $5 per kilometer over. So that means if you go 1 kilometer over, for instance, a 40 speed limit, that's a $5 fine. But I never drive that fast. I got a $350 fine, so that means I went something like 20 to 30 kilometers over the speed limit, which is next to impossible on downtown roads. So I think, as you mentioned, I think it needs to be more transparent. I'm like, how am I going to get dinged for a kilometer over? Or am I getting dinged for 20, 30 kilometers over, and how much?
You got it. And when these things get politicized, and I really do see Premier Ford playing political games with the safety of our communities. It is not realistic that we're going to be, or is it a good use of resources or time for the police to be standing at every one of the 8,000 streets in Toronto waiting for somebody to speed? We also are hearing from Torontonians that they do want people to be safe. They want our kids to be safe, our parents to be safe. There are too many people every year struck by cars and who are either killed or certainly seriously injured, and we want to put a stop to that. Technology is a tool to use, but we also need to fix what's problematic about the status quo. We can improve on it. We can make it better. That's what leadership is. What leadership is not is what Doug Ford is doing, which is, well, there's a few complaints. He's worried about the politics or the optics of it, so let's just ban everything. Despite the fact that the police and every expert will contend this is a helpful tool to use to keep our kids safe.
Okay, so along with that, with this motion, it shows that you're open to a little bit of leniency, having more of a grace period. What about this? Are you completely opposed to the additional speed bumps or the turnabouts, the roundabouts?
Well, I mean, the reality is the toolbox that the city uses to address speeding and keeping communities safe isn't just about the cameras. We already use speed humps. In fact, if you look around Toronto, you see many streets already with them. But the Premier is clearly not only ignoring the advice that he's receiving, but he's also making stuff up on the fly. The reality is just by throwing money at the city and saying put more speed humps to replace speed cameras, well, think about it. I mean, we've got streets that are major arterials where we have speed cameras because there's schools there. Do you really think that the police, fire, or EMS would want to have speed humps on Mount Pleasant or Avenue Road? Because we want those vehicles, ironically, to go fast when they need to go save lives. The Premier hasn't thought this through because he's not looking at the evidence-based approach. He's not looking at the common sense approach. He's looking at the political approach. And that's why I ask, anyone in an elected office, what wouldn't we do to protect the lives of our kids, of the people who we love? And we should take the same approach to public policy. It needs to be reasonable, and that's why I'm putting forward a motion, by the way, that I was already going to move even before I heard that the Premier was going to be getting into banning them altogether. But I do believe by taking a reasonable approach, we can bring more people on board.
Yeah, we'll have to see. Well, maybe you can go to the presser at 11 o'clock tomorrow. You guys can have a nice back and forth. There'll be a nice Q&A. I wish we could get to more topics, but unfortunately we're tight on time. But Councilor Josh Matlow, thanks so much. I do appreciate you talking about this topic at least. It's definitely very important.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
It's 5:51, 21 degrees. This is Live at 5.
Blue Jays, they're only one game up on the Yankees for the lead in the AL East. How stressed out are you? They're the bad guys right now. The Bo Sox, boo, taking batting practice. CJ Liu is on the field with more.
But the Blue Jays are fighting for a division title as the regular season winds down with a crucial couple of series before postseason baseball begins.
CP24 CJ Liu joins us live from the Rogers Center. How are fans feeling? I know I'm nervous.
Well, Phil, Bakari, fans are feeling that too. Nervous, uncomfortable, and that is because the Jays, their comfortable cushion for the division title, is slipping away. After yesterday's 4-1 loss to the Red Sox, they are only up one game against the Yankees. You can feel them breathing down the necks of the Blue Jays right now. We are just over an hour away from first pitch. You have the Red Sox doing their batting practice, but we've been talking to some fans here, including Mike. Mike, how are you feeling right now? I mean, the Jays are trying to clinch that division title, but the lead is slipping away slowly.
Yeah, it's not without doubt for sure, but this is a special group of guys. Something just feels different this year, and I'm really confident they're going to get it done.
A lot of people have been saying that. Different, special. What makes them feel so special to you?
And it's hard to put words to it. It's just they've faced adversity all year long, and you start to doubt them, then they come back and they make you feel confident again. And I think that's what's going to happen again this year.
And a division title would be great. Their first time snatching it in 10 years. What would it mean for you as a lifelong fan?
It would be amazing. I was in university when they won the World Series back-to-back in 92, 93. I'd love to get that feeling back again.
Well, Well, thanks so much, Mike. Let's hope that happens again today. But in order to do that right now, the magic number is 4. So if you do the math, any combination of Blue Jays wins and Yankees losses will get the job done. So we're just down to the final few games here with 5 regular home games left. So Phil and Bakari, every game, every at-bat really matters right now, and fans know that. Back to you.
Okay, reporting live, CP24, Sija Liu. Thanks, Sija. Okay, it's 5:58, 21 degrees. This is Toronto's breaking news, CP24.
Thanks for watching. CTV News at 6 is next.